Hey friends. So today's topic is going to be on how to overcome fear of rejection and abandonment. And so if you are watching with me live, then go ahead and hashtag live, say hi, drop a comment. And if you are watching the replay, then go ahead and hashtag replay. So to get started, for those of you who are new to me, my name is Morgan Danielle, and I am a life coach that specializes in helping women overcome trauma so that they can release toxic relationship patterns. And so the reason I want to talk about rejection and abandonment today is this is also something that I struggled with deeply for most of my life. And so, growing up, I wasn't really allowed to have my sense of self. I had very conditional love. I wasn't really allowed to express myself. I felt like I was always rejected by my family, my parents, and that followed with me through school, being rejected in middle school and high school, always feeling like the black sheep. So those rejection and those abandonment wounds can run really, really deep. And for others, it can look like if they were abandoned by a parent, if your parents got divorced and one parent left, or they were emotionally unavailable, which was my case. I had two emotionally unavailable parents. And so that is rejection in itself, having your needs not met. And so if you're struggling with rejection or abandonment, what that can look like for you is high levels of anxiety, low self-esteem, low self-worth, depression, constantly feeling like you're criticized or judged. If you have a fear of judgment, that's where that can stem from. Panic attacks, feeling out of control in your life, feeling uncomfortable in social settings, obsessively imagining scenarios where you are being rejected or abandoned. So this can come up in your romantic relationships. If you're constantly fearing that the person that you're seeing is going to leave you, and so you start putting your needs on the back burner because you want to give yourself all in so that you don't get that rejection. So that can happen. People pleasing is a result of rejection and abandonment wounds, and attracting people that end up rejecting us. So we kind of have this like self-fulfilling prophecy. Some part of us attracts these emotionally unavailable people that ultimately end up rejecting us. And so in relationships, this can also look like self-sabotage if you just push people away to see when they're going to reject you or if they're going to reject you. I mentioned this in my self-sabotage video. That was something that I struggled with. I would date somebody and see how far I could push them away to kind of see like, oh, well, they rejected me, I was right, kind of thing, right? And so in order to overcome this fear of rejection and this fear of abandonment is we have to see where it's coming from first. And so, we can look back and see who rejected us in the first place, whether that was a parent, whether that was a coach, whether that was elementary school friends. Who was that person that made you feel rejected? And this can be they made you feel rejected or abandoned emotionally, or it can be physically, either one. And this could literally be like a sibling. You didn't get the attention that you wanted from a sibling. Hey, Sandra. And so there's a lot of reasons why we can have these rejection and abandonment wounds. And so we just have to start, tracking back and seeing, where did I feel rejected in the first place? I've worked with dozens of clients at this point, and I've had, rejection wounds that looked like a parent leaving or an alcoholic parent, or I've had situations where a client felt rejected by an older sibling, not giving them, the love that they craved from them. Hey, Margie, glad you guys are here. So that's what those rejection wounds can look like. No matter how big or small these wounds may be, in a child's eyes, those are all or nothing, and they are a big deal. And so, looking back with adult eyes, we're like, oh, that's really not a big deal. So what? I, didn't get to play with my older sibling, or my older sibling was really mean to me. When that's all we know as a child, that's actually a really big deal, and that can really damage us emotionally and have lasting effects on us. So that's what that first step is looking to see where this can be stemming from, because it didn't just pop up out of nowhere, right? It didn't just one day start happening to where you had this fear. And so by figuring out where, like, awareness is the catalyst for change. If we're just poking in the dark trying to manage the symptoms of fear of rejection, it's not going to work, and it's not going to have a lasting effect. So that is where you have to start first. And so abandonment. When we talk about abandonment, you as an adult can actually not be abandoned, which gives you a sense of peace, right? So when we think about abandonment, we can think of somebody leaving, but abandonment is when, like as children and we get abandoned, there's nothing we can do. We can't take care of ourselves. So that is a major wound. But as adults, we can't get abandoned because we're able to take care of ourselves. So there's peace in knowing that no matter who comes or goes in our lives, we can never be technically abandoned because we're able to pick up those pieces and carry forward and take care of our emotional needs, our physical needs, and we can survive. And so, when you're feeling rejected or abandoned, a lot of the time it's because we truly don't know who we are in ourselves. And so we have to find out who our authentic self is. A lot of the time, we're trying to fit in to what other people want from us, who other people want us to be, right? And so when we're doing that, we have no idea who we are. I know that for myself, I was always trying to fit in with other people, liking what other people liked, what other people disliked. Like I said, I really wasn't allowed to have a personality of my own when I was younger, and when I did, it wasn't accepted and it was rejected. And so I would conform into whatever anyone else wanted me to be. And so when we are identifying our true authentic selves and finding out who we are, that's when we can find a group of people that actually reflect our highest values and reflect the person that we want to be. And so, hey Megan, hey Daniela, hey Sarah. So when we are being the most authentic part of ourselves, that's when we can actually attract real people that are reflecting our highest values, that are reflecting those parts of ourselves that we are starting to learn about. And so when you find those people that reflect that, those are the people that aren't going to reject you because you have those similar values at that core level. And so also there's a sense of peace and comfort in knowing that you can't get rejected by the right people. So and this goes for relationships as well, when you step into your most authentic self, then that's when you can start attracting men or partners that truly align with you, and that right person isn't going to reject you. And if they do, then they're not the right person. And so there is a lot of comfort in knowing that. And so it all stems back to who we are and finding out who we are, what we like, what we're about, what our true values are, so that we can start attracting that into our lives, right? And so, like I said, having that community, if in your family you didn't feel accepted, or you were rejected or abandoned by somebody in your family, finding those people that can kind of become that new family for you. Your friends can become your family, a community can become your family. And that's why in my group coaching program, I find it really important to have that sense of community. My dog's choking. It's so important to have that sense of community, because that's where you get that love, you get that support. When we are constantly attracting these emotionally unavailable men, or we are looking for those relationships to fill us up, it's because we have a connection issue. We have a connection issue. And if we were fulfilled in our connections with other women or other people, or we had that security, that acceptance in a family setting, then we wouldn't be seeking for it in men. And so finding those people that can be your community, that can be your family, and knowing that those people are the right people for you, and you can't get rejected then, right? And so my fourth step is don't bleed on people that didn't cut you. So a lot of the times when we have these wounds, these core wounds of rejection and abandonment, and fearing that, we're projecting it on other people. We're projecting that in our relationships. We're projecting that in our friendships. We're projecting it in maybe even in work with our coworkers. So if we are projecting that and putting that energy out there that we're going to get rejected, we close parts of ourselves off. And that's, again, where that authentic self comes in. If we're closing off parts of ourselves, then the people that we're attracting aren't going to be the right people. And so when you stop projecting that hurt onto other people, you allow them to accept you. And a lot of the times we just have to be willing to allow people to accept us, because most of the time when we have this fear inside of us, we have to build up this wall and we won't let anyone in. And then when they leave, because they're not getting in, they're not getting through, then we think something's wrong with us, right? And so by handling where your wounds came from in the first place, that's going to allow you to take the fear and anxiety out and know that not everyone is going to reject you. Not everyone is going to abandon you. Not everyone's going to hurt you. In my experience in dating and with friendships, I would always think that, if I didn't let myself get close to that person, if I didn't show them my true authentic self, then they couldn't reject me, right? And so when I would push them away and not let them in, and they left, I was like, well, see, I was right, and thank God I didn't let my guard down, blah, 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 right? So we have to look at people with fresh eyes. We can't look at people like the people who hurt us, right? And so when we start to do that, we open ourselves up for new people, healthy people, to enter our lives. The people that are supposed to be there, that are healthy and supportive and loving and caring to us, right? And that's all we wanted in the first place. But when we have these deep wounds, we can't get there. And so when we're able to accept ourselves, and we're able to have this unshakable confidence, and we have this sense of who we are, nobody can ever reject you. If you accept yourself, nobody will ever be able to reject you, okay? So that's what we have to start working on in the first place. We need to stop looking at the external and start focusing on what's within us now, and start accepting those parts of ourselves. Maybe we think that we're not worthy of being loved. Maybe we think that we're not good enough. Maybe we think that we could lose weight, or we're not pretty enough, or we're not smart enough. When we start accepting all parts of ourselves and begin to love ourselves and build that confidence, build that self-esteem, and give ourselves the love that we need, then nobody can ever reject us, even if they don't want to date us, or they don't want to be friends with us, or they tell us no. Nobody can ever reject us when we are that solid in who we are. So if you all had a breakthrough during this, if you found out something that you didn't know before, tell me your biggest takeaway in the comments. And if you're wanting to get to the core root of these wounds, then message me and I can start to help you figure out where this core wound is coming from in the first place, so that we can then go on and heal it. All right, everyone, have a great rest of your day.